Welcome to another episode of Coder Conversations. We have TJ McCarty back. Hey, how's it been going, man?
Good. How have you been?
Oh man, not bad. Just been busy. Doing a podcast, working. Same old stuff.
Yeah, same here,
Yeah,
except
man.
YouTube. I'm on YouTube. So
Yeah, how's your YouTube channel been going?
it's been going pretty good. It's starting to pick up. So I'm liking it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah, man. Glad to hear about your success, man. But yeah, there's been a lot of interesting tech news, man. Have you heard about ChatGPT?
yeah, I that's actually why I wanted to get with you to talk about it, to get your thoughts on it. I've been making some videos on that lately, and just want to know your viewpoint. The first thing on I think every developer's mind and a lot of other people's minds is, do you think it's going to take our jobs away? What do you think about that? Do you think it's going to replace anybody's jobs, or what's your point of view on that?
So for those that don't know, ChatGPT is kind of like a powerful AI that can generate code, generate images, etc. Um, yeah, it's been able to generate some like really good looking stuff. I think it's going to take some jobs away, but people are going to have to adapt, and maybe that means they spend less time doing menial work of creating certain things and more time focusing on telling the AI how to get the result that they want.
Hmm. Yeah, when it was neat, I was able to ask it to create a to-do list app with TypeScript, and it created one. Uh, but I have heard from a lot of other developers that it's not quite at the level where you should be worried about your job yet. It's seeming
Mhm.
more like developers. But so like maybe you could use it as a tool and say, I need this kind of function created using
Can you hear me?
TypeScript. Can you?
I can't hear your microphone.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me make sure. Yeah. So where did I cut out?
Like the when you was about pretty much the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking it does look like a good developer tool, like an assistant.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe it could replace junior developers over time. Um, or if you think of it a different way, maybe it could just help junior developers code better while they're still learning to code. Like, I don't know. So it seems like something you can tell it, hey, I need a function named, the function should be called this. It should have these parameters, um, which I don't know if it would just be faster just to write that out,
Yeah,
but I don't
exactly.
know. It does seem
Yeah,
like it can do something like that.
I mean, at the granular level, when you really want your application to do specific things, somebody still has to go in there and code it. Like you can't just tell the application, change the database and do X, Y, and Z, and
Hmm.
react to this and that. Like from what I've seen, it kind of creates a broad strokes, like like a broad application, and then somebody comes in and tweaks it. So it's almost like a template generator right now, like an advanced template
Yeah.
generator.
Yeah. I actually think it's more of a threat to traditional, I don't know, non developer jobs like personal assistants or maybe
Mm.
doctors or nurses or things like that, where you can just basically tell it, my patient's having these symptoms. What could it be?
Hmm.
But having said that, I would assume those are in danger, but then I went and tested it out, and I put in symptoms asking what could it be, and it would just say things like, I'm sorry, I don't have access to the internet. So, and
Mm.
I can't answer that question. You should go talk to a doctor.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while before people really trust this thing, and it
Actually
has to
even
kind of prove
so
itself.
I don't know. I found it kind of limiting, quite limiting. The more I dug into it to try, I thought of jobs that could be in danger, like a doctor job, and I tried out like pretending I'm a doctor to get an answer, and I didn't get any answers from it. It's would just say, "Sorry, I can't help you." I don't know. Um,
Exactly.
so
And somebody human has to be there to validate the answer is correct. Like it's going to give you a answer, but if you're not a specialist in that field, then you're not going to know whether the answer is correct. Like, are the makers going to be liable if it misdiagnoses you, or gives you some medical advice and you take it and hurt yourself,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah, maybe that is what they're thinking too. There is a lot of things you have to think about, I guess. If you were going to try to be an AI assistant for a doctor, you're probably going to have to deal with a lot of lawsuits, because if you give the wrong advice, I guess you could get sued. OpenAI could get sued. So, but definitely, it definitely seems really good at writing essays and doing your
Hmm.
homework for you. So, like, uh, college students could pay to have them write the essays for them, which probably, I'm assuming in the future, students are probably going to have to write their essays in class with by hand or something, or
Yeah.
they could just ask OpenAI to write it for them. So maybe jobs like any sort of personal assistant type jobs. I don't know. Like maybe lawyers could use it to write up stuff that they need, or any sort of writing thing, which is kind of the crazy thing. I had always, like years ago when I was thinking of what, as AI started getting going, like what could what kind of jobs would it replace? And my
Hmm.
first thought was, well, the last kind of job it would replace would be like creative type jobs, like writing books or writing articles or creating art or things like that. But like over the past couple of years, it seems like the opposite has happened. Like there's actually
Hmm.
real businesses being made with AI to create art or to write articles for you, or all these creative things. It seems like those are the ones that are being AI is going after first, and all these technical things that you would think AI would replace, it's not really doing a very good job as of yet. What do you think? Have you thought? Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, I kind of thought creativity would be the last stronghold, but yeah, like you said, it's kind of the reverse. I think the issue with creativity though is that it can generate pretty pictures, but somebody kind of has to what is that word, like curate the results. Like, okay, this looks good, this looks good, uh, everything looks consistent, everything. I think there's going to be less technicians in terms of artists. Like, you don't necessarily have to be go to art school for 4 years and all of that. You can kind of tell the AI, I want you to draw this, but somebody has to have good taste in order to make sure that the resulting output is something that people would actually want. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in terms of technicians, in terms of like programmers, AI isn't going to replace them anytime soon, because it's hard to get granular on that granular level when it comes to applications. Like, you can say, "Oh, make me a chat application," but what if you want like a very specific feature, or in this instance, a chat application do that? Like, somebody's gonna have to go in and code it, or they're gonna have to know how to deliver those really specific instructions to the AI. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, you have to look at AI as a tool, kind of like like hammers, drills, etc. They didn't make carpenters go away. They allowed them to do their job quicker and maybe build better things. So either
Mm-hmm.
you embrace the tool, or you kind of potentially get left behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually, so I toyed around with an AI before ChatGPT, to help write scripts for like videos, just to see what it would be like. It was useful, but I found that I would just have to, I'd say, tell me the history of the internet or something like that, and I would take bits and pieces out and put it into my script, but then I'd go in and edit it.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. It seems like all these AI tools, it's like they have a lot of potential, but it's more of like, it can help you get started, but then a human has to
Yeah,
go in and start editing. Um,
exactly.
but if I were to guess, you would still think jobs like doctor jobs and nurse jobs, uh, stuff like that could be done very well by an AI. If it had like access to all medical records, and like you could give it different, um, like, sorry, those are my kids. They're kind of acting crazy. But yes, if you could, like say these are the symptoms, what could the sickness be or something like that? Like, I'm just thinking about my wife. She had some medical issues and she went to see a number of doctors that must not have really known what they were talking about, and because they couldn't find anything, but she just googled and googled and googled and kind of came up with her own diagnosis. And then
Mm.
she went to a better doctor recently and he brought up that diagnosis and she's like, that's what I thought I had this whole time. So like all those other doctors before didn't really know what they were talking about, but this one did. And I don't know, you would think AI could help all doctors be like the one that, I don't know, it could actually show you all the different options that it could be. And
Mhm.
so I don't know, stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
so I
I
guess
think.
the other, sorry,
Oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just saying. I think AI is like a good like workhorse, like collaborate, grabbing results, uh, compiling it, and then you give it to a specialist to look over. Kind of does like
Mhm.
the menial, like, well, not menial, but more like the leg work. Like, instead of a paralegal having to manually go through all of these documents and things of that nature, you just ask the AI, give me results on this, and then, okay, this information is good, this isn't. Like, somebody
Mhm.
has to manually sift through that.
Mhm. And I think a paralegal would be a great potential, because basically, like you said, it can create templates for you, kind of. And I
Hmm.
would assume law, like injury law or something like that, a lot of it's just very template based, and maybe you go in and edit some documents and stuff. But yeah, so that was the first thing I heard. The other thing I heard was it's the Google killer. Like it's the next Google. I keep hearing that. What are your thoughts on that?
So Kendall Hayes just echoed something similar. How have you guys integrated Chat GPT into your daily workflow? Has it
Oh.
replaced Stack Overflow for y'all? Me personally, I haven't used it much, but in terms of being a Google killer, I believe it could be a Google complement, because I haven't really used it enough to say, hey, I'm gonna rely on this. And the thing about Google is, Google has the infrastructure to allow a lot of people to use it. Whereas with Chat GPT, I mean, I think that's really resource intensive for the AI to pull these results. So, um, you know, maybe if your company pays for it, because I'm sure they're gonna start having different tiers. Like, okay, you can do such and such amount of searches a month. So I don't really see it as a Google killer. I see it as a Google complement. Like, oh, I can't find a result on Google, so let me ask ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. What do you think?
Yeah, I think as far as incorporating it into my workflow, I haven't done that yet. Really, the closest I got to it was like uh, I tried out asking specific. So this is sort of what I feel like I've figured out is I kind of think they're different products. I don't. Everyone tries to compare Chat GPT to Google or Stack Overflow or something like that, but really they're kind of different. Like I think
Mm.
OpenAI, what they're trying to do is kind of create a personal assistant. Like you can think of Chat GPT like more of a person that has learned a lot of things in the past, and based on what they've learned in the past, they can help assist you with
Mm.
things like tasks, like writing a paper or writing some basic code for you, or any sort of template type thing, like a task that you can say, hey, can you please do this for me? And maybe you can ask more broad questions like what's the history of the internet? What's the history of the computer? Or and I think you can ask it things like you would on Stack Overflow and Google too. But I think one of the big hindrances that I learned is it doesn't have access to the internet and it doesn't have up to date information. The only information Chat GPT has is what it's already learned in the past. and it sounds like it can only learn whatever humans at OpenAI are giving it access to. It's not letting it just have access to the internet. It's specifically giving it information. Whereas Google has up-to-date information, real-time information. It's still like, so as far as ChatGPT, it's like a personal assistant. Google Stack Overflow, it's like, it's a search engine. It's a place that's really, it's collected, like, indexed the World Wide Web's information, and it's made it easy to find the information you're looking for. So as like a developer, if you're a developer, maybe you can think of it as sort of like SQL, SQL, like you write in a query to get the information you're looking for. Whereas with Google, whatever you're typing out is like your query, and Google's or Stack Overflow is good at giving you results of what exactly you're looking for. So Google, Stack Overflow, find information. ChatGPT, it seems like the direction right now is a personal assistant to do things for you. They're trying to make it to where it can do things for you. I don't know though. What has your experience been? Has that been your experience, or?
So like you mentioned, as far as I'm aware, AI can only like create results based off what's already existing on the internet. So without Google being able to find these web pages and all of that, would Chat GPT actually be able to operate? Because it needs that access to that data in order to kind of combine it and do whatever it does. So yeah, I feel like yeah, like you mentioned, they're two completely different products. There might be some use cases in which, you know, Chat GPT is now better than Google, but that doesn't make Google obsolete. Like you don't need the power of Chat GPT for everything. And one other issue I have is like sometimes you want to research a subject and you want multiple sources of information. If everybody just relies on what's coming in from Chat GPT, it's almost like you're short circuiting your you know, your critical thinking. You just say, oh, I'm gonna just run with whatever Chat GPT says, as opposed to grabbing, you know, 5 or 6 or 7 different articles that have different perspectives from Google, and then you know, coming to your own conclusion. So I think like if we start over relying on AI, that can be dangerous as well.
Yeah, I think what Kendall is saying is true. We may be comparing apples to oranges. Like, I do think there is a lot of crossover between the two, but I think it's good to think of them as completely different products. And ChatGPT is actually something completely new. They're trying to make it like a personal assistant, and this is like the early phase of that, and it does a pretty good job for that. Like, you can ask it to make a template to do list app for you on using TypeScript, and then you can go in and just edit it however you want. And I could see how that could speed up your development process. Again, though, it is something I don't use, so I don't know if it's just because it's so new, or I don't know that I could ever see myself going to use it on a regular basis. But I did ask, so like an example was, I asked it the other day, how do you raise money for a startup? Like a conversational thing like that. It gave some pretty good ideas, I thought. So it's one of those things, like, I don't know, Google's a good search engine to find information, but if I'm looking to just, I don't want to go through all these articles and stuff, maybe I would just pull up ChatGPT. And if it's a conversational thing, like, do you have any ideas on how to raise money? What would you do? Or
yeah, exactly.
stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe just, again, more chat, conversational. It's meant to be a conversational personal
Yeah.
assistant. So
Yeah, especially if you're looking for a specific, like, you know exactly what you're looking for, and like you mentioned, like, how do I raise money? That would make sense to go to Chat GPT as opposed to Google, which is going to give you a ton of results. So like you mentioned, you said they limited its access to the internet.
yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, and I was wondering if the team there was intentionally trying to stop AI from enslaving all of us.
Hmm.
That's my thought is it does make sense. You wouldn't want if you're creating a super mega AI, you wouldn't want it to like be able to figure out how to create a nuclear bomb or be able to
Yeah.
hack into drones or anything like that and just start assassinating everybody. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm assuming that's why they didn't give it access to the internet, and I'm kind of glad they did that. But at the same time, it's like it doesn't make it as sorry.
Yeah. I think. Okay. Yeah.
Can
You
you?
had cut out for a second.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
sure why I keep doing that. But yeah, so
Oh, you went out
I
again.
forgot. Let me try to switch internet connections real fast.
Okay. But yeah, TJ will be back in a second. But yeah, AI, we have to be very careful about unleashing it on the internet because if it ever becomes malicious, then we're really screwed because once it's on the internet, um, how do you get it off the internet? Especially if it's like a virus and it starts making copies of itself. How do you limit the spread of that? So um, here we go. TJ's back.
Sorry
Okay,
about
there
that.
you go.
I think that should be a better connection. I'm sorry about that. Did you remember what we were talking about?
Oh yeah, we were kind of talking about AI and unleashing it on the internet.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I think maybe they didn't do that so that it couldn't hack into things and figure stuff out. But I think that is yet another reason why it's not the Google killer because
Hmm.
again, Google has real time instant access to current information. Uh, this OpenAI at least kind of lives on its own separate internet of information, I guess. Whatever is taught to it is what it knows rather than just have
Hmm.
open access to everything. So, what do you think about that? Do you think
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a good idea. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, they say like AI is even possibly more dangerous than nukes. Um, Elon Musk pretty much compared it to like summoning the demon, and I can see why because you have this thing that has access to pretty much every aspect of our lives through the Internet of Things. Like all of our devices are connected to the internet. Like you wouldn't give that power to a random person to be able to turn your lights on and off. Well, technically the government and the power company, they already have that ability. But like, do you really want to give this to this AI where you don't really know its ultimate intentions? Like, it might be benign right now, but what if it turns malevolent and looks at humanity as a threat? Now
Mhm.
it's replicating itself across all devices and it has control to all devices. It's like a horror movie in the making. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like the more computers are in cars too, it could take over your car. Like I think I heard
Mm-hmm.
a Tesla recently just shut off and locked
Mm.
itself. It wouldn't let somebody out for some reason. I don't know why, but I just saw a headline for that. But yeah, it's like there's no limit to what it could do in today's connected world. And so it's like I know the Open AI's mission. The whole thought is AI has the potential to enslave all of mankind. So their goal in trying to stop that from happening is by democratizing AI and giving everyone access to it. So the goal would be instead of one mega super AI that's in control of everything, give like anybody who wants it. Millions of people have their own separate AI, mega AI that they're in control of that they can then kind of hopefully stop one ultimate mega AI from taking over everything. Um,
Mm.
that's what I've heard is their goal. But I don't know how you could do that really because
Yeah.
somebody else is probably going to make an AI that could live on the internet and then just take over everything. Unless somehow
Mm-hmm.
all these separate AIs from OpenAI are disconnected from the internet, and so maybe they're unhackable or something. I don't. Do you happen to know anything about that?
I kind of remember. I think it was Amazon, the Alexa. They had the two of these little AI devices talking to each other, and it started creating its own language. So, you know, if you have like a bunch of different AIs, what's to say that they won't like start collaborating with each other and working in some kind of united purpose that we're unaware of? Like,
That is true.
this this stuff is powerful, but it's dangerous. That's why you have to have like heavy regulations, and you always have people who like to mess with stuff. Like, you remember the Microsoft, I think it's like Tay Talks or something, Tay Tweets, the AI that was talking on Twitter or something, and people were talking to it and like making it say like racist things and how she loves Donald Trump and all of that. Like, you,
Yeah.
when you unleash that kind of stuff, people are gonna somebody out there's gonna get the idea of, let me see if I can turn this thing evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just don't see, like, eventually you would think somebody could create one mega AI that could rule them all and just
Hmm.
way smarter than all the others and can kind of take them all over. And it's just funny. It's like, so like Elon Musk, he kind of helped create this, I think, to try to stop AI. But then it's like at the same time, he's building these robots that he's hoping everyone has a
Yeah.
robot. And literally, an AI could take over all these robots and enslave everyone.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's like he's creating the things he fears, and it's just weird. But yeah, I think you were one of the last things we were talking about off the air was just, what do you think about the potential of this being like the image of the beast in Revelation
Hmm.
13? So for everyone who doesn't know, we're Christians, and so we like sometimes talk about does any of this line up with prophecy? Would it be okay if I read a scripture from Revelation 13?
Sure.
Yeah, so this is what we were talking about. So in Revelation chapter 13, if you're not aware, if you're not a Christian, it talks about in the last days before Jesus returns, there's going to be someone called the Antichrist. He's described in the first half of Revelation 13. He's the first beast. And then the second half, there's a second beast. He's known as the false prophet, and he causes the world to worship the first beast. And one of the ways he does that is through an image that comes to life. And it talks about it in Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. And it says, and it's talking about the second beast, the false prophet. It was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. And also, it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Um, so one of the things I've just wondered is, like, so over uh, the pandemic, we went from like freedom in 2019 to like a year later, you're having like governments all over the world saying you have to have like this green card proving that you've
Hmm.
been vaccinated, that you've received this vaccine in your body in order to have a job. Like, a lot of doctors and nurses have lost their jobs now because our government says you can't have a job unless you have the vaccine.
Hmm.
And then it's in places like all over the world, you weren't even able to go to shopping centers or anything like that to buy things. You weren't able to sell things without this vaccine card. And so anyway, the reason I say that is, with this interconnected world now, like, I could definitely see like there being, if there,
Oh, yeah, I think we lost. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah,
me?
you got cut
Can
out.
you hear me
Yeah, yeah,
now?
you're
Sorry.
coming back.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if there was an antichrist and a
You
false
went out
prophet,
again.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. If there was an antichrist and a false prophet, you could definitely see how maybe this image of the beast that comes alive and starts speaking. Maybe that could be a super AI one day, like an avatar
Mm,
from an AI.
yep.
You could see like them putting like screens in like at the front of every mall or shopping center or something like that, and they
Mhm.
scan you to see if you have your mark, whatever that might be. And the AI image could say, "Sorry, you don't have your mark. You can't come in or buy or sell
Yep.
anything. Or you have your mark. Go ahead and come in." And someone just mentioned Neuralink. What do you think?
Mhm.
Do you think that could also be part of all of it? Or what do
Yeah,
you think
so
about all that? Do you think that's kind of crazy, or do you think it could be
I mean,
the image of
me personally, I see it all coming together because, like you mentioned, the Bible 2,000 years ago, they didn't say they're going to worship the beast. They say they're going to worship the image of the beast. So why did they say image? So meaning it's going to be some kind of display that's not necessarily a physical manifestation. And if you look at everything these companies are doing, they're trying to move us into the metaverse or augmented reality. So, in other words, we're being moved into this alternate reality where, and like you mentioned, like if you look at different AIs, Cortana, if you play like Halo, that's where Cortana came from. The AI has an image associated with it, the avatar. So, yeah, like this super powerful AI, it could actually be, like that beast. And like Neuralink, that's the mark that could go on your head, and they already have the RFID chips that go in your hand. And a lot of people they've been seeing like these, the street lights. They've been like seeing ones that's purple in color, like kind of like a black light almost. And they've been saying that, oh, it's just a defect, but to me, like, what black lights are for, they're to expose certain things, you know what I mean? So there's this thing called like digital tattoo. Maybe those one day could be used to expose if you have your digital tattoo.
mm-hmm.
So I see how it's all coming together. And I don't know if you know what Sword Art Online is.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's anime that in the anime, like a brand new MMORPG came out, and everybody was excited to play it. But in order to play it, you have to put on a VR headset. But like unbeknownst to all the players, once you put it on, it's stuck on your head. If you try to take it off, it'll kill you. Like
Mm.
the only way to take it off is to beat the game, or otherwise, if you die in the game, you also die in real life. If you take it off before beating the game, you die in real life. So
Mm.
the founder of Oculus, one of the founders, his name I believe is like Andrew Lucky or something like that. He actually made a prototype of that in real life, like a headset that can kill you. So I wouldn't
Wow.
be surprised in the future, like everybody's required to put on their headsets and, hey, tune in. We need to listen to our global leader, and if your social credit score is too low or something, the charges can go off, and you're unable to do anything unless you're integrated into that system.
Yeah, the Neuralink was mentioned too.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, Neuralink was mentioned too, and I was just thinking, you know, so if you read on in Revelation, it says all who take the mark of the beast won't be
Mm,
able to go to heaven. And I had thought of, if it is Neuralink, like something like that, that's connected to your mind, like apparently, so they market it as like people who have problems remembering things or something like that. It can
yep.
fix your memory and it can save your memory. But my thought is like, if it can save memories, it probably can make it
Create 'em.
erase memories. It could create memories. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe if you took it, like another thing I've heard Elon Musk and Joe Rogan talk about it, and they mentioned like it could cure you of the woke mind virus, or also religious dogma. It also used the
Mm-hmm.
word religious dogma. So like
Yep.
it has the potential to just erase all your religious memories. And
Yep.
if whoever controls it just thinks maybe, religion is the cause of all the wars in the world, and so we should
Mm-hmm.
just cure people's minds of it and not let
Yep.
people. So I don't know. It is one of those things. And like if there is this mega AI, you would think it could control people through Neuralink.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about digital tattoos. I looked into all this too. Bill Gates and MIT, they created something that I think they may have already launched it in West Africa, Northwest Africa. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot the names of it, but they created like a vaccine that with the vaccine comes a digital tattoo. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the name of the dye that they use for the tattoo is luciferase, and it
Yeah.
is derived from the word Lucifer. Luciferase dye is used to create the tattoo that goes right in your hand after you take their vaccine. And their whole pitch is, oh, people in Africa are poor. They don't have ways to carry around all their bank information. And so
Yeah.
uh, this would be a way to, each of those tattoos come with like an ID for each individual person that could be connected to their bank account. And they
Mm-hmm.
can just go and scan their hand and buy and sell things that way. So it is crazy. It is crazy. So people watching, again, we're Christians. We're just looking. I don't know. I think all of this is just, it's coming together to fulfill
Yeah.
Revelation, and
This
it's
is
the
also
text
partly
already
why
there, huh?
I was just saying this is also partly why I believe they allow cryptocurrency to collapse. Cryptocurrency is kind of going through it right now because if initially they proposed a government-backed digital currency, people are gonna be like, no, I don't trust this. But they get people hooked on digital currency by saying, here's cryptocurrency. Look at these crypto billionaires. These guys are making a lot of money. So people just rush into it. Because, supposedly it's something that's against the current banking system or whatever. And, people are accustomed to digital currency now. So they've kind of garnered acceptance. So now you allow this current iteration of digital currency to fail and say, this digital currency is good, but we need regulations. We need something to keep your money safe. And now they're going to come in with a digital dollar, digital yuan, these things. And, once everything is moved to digital, it's just like video games like Steam, Steam, they can technically cut your account off and you lose access to all your games. So imagine if all our financial transactions are tied to the internet and being part of the network, they can shut you out at any moment. Like, no, he's saying questionable things, and thought crime. That's another thing. Like AI is being used to analyze these vast bodies of information. It's also going to be used to analyze people. Like, what is this guy thinking? Is he, potentially thinking undesirable things? Then you get flagged. Okay, yeah, watch him. Oh, okay, his social score is too low. Cut him out of the system. So it's all kind of playing together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another crazy thing, that for Revelation 13 to be fulfilled, there would have to be the ability to create a global currency. And that's never been possible except for like the past 50 years, or since the internet got big. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, of course, everyone can see that that's possible. It's just crazy. So, like Revelation 10 through Revelation 15, there's all these prophecies that were written 2,000 years ago, and there's no possible way they could have guessed it. Like, I think it's chapter 12 or 11, something like that. It talks about the two witnesses that'll come one day. It says people from
Mm-hmm.
all over the world are going to be able to watch them die. They're going to be giving gifts to each other because they're so happy that they die, but then they're all going to watch them rise from the dead. That's a prophecy. I think that's a prophecy about the internet. Like up until 100 years ago, apparently people would like make fun of that prophecy. They're like, how's that going to happen? I mean, are they going to have a telescope that goes around the world? Like people from all the world, that's just not going to happen. Well, since TV, the internet, of course it can happen. And like Revelation 13, now it used to be crazy, the idea of a global currency, one global currency, but now of course that could happen. I mean, if the infrastructure is already in place, like there could definitely be a digital global currency. Are you there? I think we lost connection. But yeah, while we're waiting for him to come back, I can't hear you, Kevin, if you can hear me. But yeah, that's just another crazy thing. I can't believe, I don't know. It's one of those different prophecies are just so, it would have to, it could only have happened in now, basically. But I think we're getting, I'm not, so I am not the one who started this chat for anyone watching. And I have no idea how to turn this on or off. I think we've lost Kevin though, but I think he's coming back pretty soon. But anyway, I think we're pretty close to the end of the conversation anyway. That's what we wanted to talk about anyway. So I'm hoping maybe he comes back though. Oh, there he is. All right.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, what was the last thing? Oh, I think it cut out again.
Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go.
Hear me? Okay. Do you have any? I said everything I was thinking. Did you have any last minute ending thoughts or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, me and Terrence, on the podcast, we kind of talk about the dangers of social media and being too involved in technology. I think like being, technology is a good tool. It's it helps us be productive, but if you become too immersed, who knows where it's going to lead you. So I would advise like be very wary of giving yourself over to technology because it could have like eternal ramifications.
Yeah.
How about you? You had any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I guess that's a really good way to end it. Is just we all should. Technology can be a good tool, but also if all these prophecies are true, and I believe they are, like it seems like if you read Revelation 13, Revelation 11, 12, 13, 14, there's going to be some sort of global system where you're connected. And I don't know, it is an eternal risk. Like we should all just try to make sure we're still living in the real world and not connecting our minds to these, I don't know, all these people that probably don't, they just want to control us anyway through technology. And it's better just to live free and not spend our whole lives in the digital world, in this alternate reality that's not even real. So
I mean, it's crazy how you can have like a bunch of kids in the same room and they're not interacting with each other. They're all like in their own personal digital world somewhere. So
yeah.
It's like, are we losing our humanity by becoming too integrated with technology?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
but yeah, that's everything I wanted to say. How about you?
That's all I want to say too. So
we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.